This courtroom gets intense fast. Anthony Griffin, a self-proclaimed sovereign citizen, refuses to acknowledge that he's the defendant. Instead, he claims he's Anthony of the Griffin family, and even calls himself the executive of the estate of Anthony Griffin. The judge stays calm but firm, shutting down Griffin's interruptions and keeping the courtroom under control. Griffin delivers a long, confusing monologue, saying he's not the entity named Anthony Griffin, denying being a black man, and insisting his personal information is false. He even talks about being a living man and questions the court's jurisdiction. Despite all this, the judge methodically addresses every claim, using records and booking photos to confirm Griffin's identity. The prosecutor also points out Griffin's failure to appear in a previous case and lays out bail conditions. The narrator chimes in, comparing arguing with a sovereign citizen to a magic 8-ball that only says no, highlighting just how frustrating this can be for legal professionals. In the end, the judge is praised for professionalism, allowing Griffin to speak enough to protect his rights, but ultimately shutting down the nonsense and keeping the courtroom moving. This is a wild example of how sovereign citizen arguments play out in real courtrooms. And how a calm, firm judge can handle even the most bizarre challenges.
The appearances, please.
Assistant District Attorney Jack Schneider for the state of Wisconsin.
And you're Mr. Griffin, is that correct?
No, off statement for the record comes now the living man, Anthony of the Griffin family.
All right, so Mr. Griffin,
appearing expressly.
wait, you need to stop talking. Is
I'm
Mr. Griffin
appearing expressly.
hearing today? Are you Mr. Griffin or not?
I am Anthony of the Griffin family.
Are you the Anthony Griffin that is charged?
Oh,
Stop a second here.
You asked me a question, I'm answering it.
Okay, I don't want you to answer it anymore. I want a yes or no answer to a question, okay? And the question is, and I have to get the case back in front of me, I'm sorry, but bear with me. Lost my calendar. I have a simple question for you.
25 CF 939.
Are you Anthony Griffin with a date of birth of August 20th, 1985?
I am not the dead entity Anthony Griffin. I am the executive of the estate of Anthony Griffin. I do not agree to be.
All right, well, we'll have to set this over and hold you in custody then until we can have a later
I will
hearing.
as I've been held for 72 hours without seeing the judge. That is unlawful.
But you're not Anthony
So
Griffin.
you are agreeing to violate my common law rights. Is that what you're saying?
I'm asking you to, let's do this. Okay. I'm going to find probable cause that this is Mr. Griffin, that is acting in an obstructing way, but we'll go ahead with it. Do you have a copy of the complaint there in front of
I
you?
object that you're obstructing my justice.
Your objection is noted.
I'm a more. You have.
If you keep talking over me, we're going to cancel this.
Talking over me. I just want to state the facts. Do you not want the facts to be stated on the case? Am I not allowed?
You're not allowed. No, you're not allowed to talk about it.
Attorney. I am not.
Okay, let's hold him in custody or canceling this hearing. You're going to have to be
That's
held.
okay.
You're not willing to cooperate. Make a record
show that you're violating my rights. Let the record show that, please. Thank you.
Record will note that he refused to cooperate so that an initial hearing could be conducted.
We'll go on the record in the state of Wisconsin versus Anthony Griffin Jr. That's 25 CF 939 appearances.
Mr. Reed Marco for the state.
To understand where the flight defender's office refers to Mr. Griffin has indicated that he wants to take care of his own case. Right?
Is that right, Mr. Griffin?
I'm not Mr. Griffin. I'm Anthony of the Griffin. I am the power of attorney for him. I do have a question for the court. Will I be allowed to speak freely, or will my civil rights be again granted on?
Oh, you get to make a statement on bail, but we're going to do this in an orderly fashion. But you're indicating that you're not Mr. Griffin, or that's just not how you identify yourself.
It's not about me identifying myself. Griffin carries my all caps entity with the dead entity. I actually have an EIN for this created entity. This is not me. I also do not live this address. I'm also not a black man. I am a lord. So a lot of things on here are totally wrong, which not be at all. My weight is not 240 pounds. All this information is false. But as for the record, all statements for the record comes now from the living man and the other different family. Sure, yours or your son status appearance threatens to continue the regular support. I'm not to be mistaken with the all caps state as I am the occupant of the executive office and also the sole beneficiary of the state. I filed my power of attorney with the court and I'm ready to proceed. Let the record show that I do not agree to be a surety for the debt entity as it was created from the state and was given to me and is not a representation of me. I am not one who owes a debt to the United States or to the state of Wisconsin. Further, I'm not a flight risk. The only reason I was supported was due to the failure of the court to notify me of said date. Furthermore, on being detained, I made it very clear to Officer Gilson that I wanted my rights read to me. Officer Gilson first refused after we asked him twice to know if they read me my rights. After Officer Gilson read me my rights, I made it very clear to him that I wanted my attorney present with the sheriff. Officer Gilson then replied, "They won't come." I made it very clear to him that if he continued to talk to me without my attorney present and the sheriff present, it would be a violation of my civil rights and my constitutional rights. He ignored these facts and continued to be arrested in violation of my law and the rights and the protocol that he agreed to follow as an officer. I was pulled over while traveling in a private automobile. The plates read, DOT exempt, do not detain private traveler. I made it very clear to him that he does not have jurisdiction, but yet he forced it. I was never properly identified as a suspect. My fingerprints were taken under direct arrest of origin after I told them I did not own my fingerprints or people taken until I have a court order from the judge. I do not argue with any of the facts in this charging incident. This is not me taking a plea. It's accepted for value and returned for value. All the charge entities in this case and use my exemption for discharge and set off and release the order to me immediately.
Okay. Well, I think there's at least a reasonable inference on the record that the person known as Anthony Griffin is the same individual in front of me. When they called Anthony Griffin's case, he came out of the holding cell. I don't know why he would do that if he's not. I gave you an opportunity to speak. I'm speaking now, sir. You can object. There's no basis for it. I'm looking at the court records. Please don't interrupt. I'm looking at the jail records.
The Trust Act of 1666 says that when somebody claims their estate, you are to relinquish all of the things to them.
I don't know what you're talking about.
That's
I've never
okay.
heard that ever.
That also means that this
You
is not
can file your written motions, Mr. Griffin.
court with jurisdiction, and I challenge jurisdiction under Federal Rule of Procedure 5.1.
It's denied. The booking photo and the Spillman records match this particular individual.
Right to approve your
I'll find probable cause.
Man can be Lord over his own case.
And where would you like us to send mail, sir?
You already have mail.
Okay,
53532.
thank you.
And I have a right to be
What's
What's
the state's position on bail?
Thank you, Your Honor. In this case, the state is asking the court to impose $1,000 pound bail with the condition that the defendant be prohibited from possessing any dangerous weapons as defined by the statutes. It's my understanding that the defendant posted $5,000 cash on his current pending felon case and then failed to appear in court. He is alleged to have refused to identify himself and has committed additional crimes while out on cash bail, which is, as we know, a general violation of conditions.
I object.
It's our position that
Let her finish. We can't have this hearing. We are talking over people. We're trying to record it. What's the basis for the
The
objection?
basis for the objection is the fact that she has no basis of knowing who I am. I don't know who she is.
All right.
She's not even.
The objection's overruled. I ruled it, Mr. Griffin. Let her finish.
As far as that failure to appear, Your Honor, it looks like a bench warrant for a body only hold was issued on January 27th of this year in pending case 24 CF 907. That warrant was not served until almost 3 months later on the 17th of April this year.
So, Your Honor, they're sure not that when somebody has a court date that they have to be served a court date so they know that it's there? Or is it okay to actually set a court date without notifying the defendant or the accused and then locking them up for warrant?
All right, and I gather you're alleging that Judge Highland did not send notice to you?
No, there's no certified anything there. There's no documented proof of service of anything of that date. I went to every previous court date and I don't skip court dates. He didn't show up for the last 3 court dates prior to that, and I actually put in a motion for failure to prosecute, yet they still moved forward as if nothing was placed in and no one came to court except for me and the prosecutor, and the judge was hiding in the back or whatever the case may be. I filed an abatement just to let them know I'm not the person who they're looking for, but yet I keep getting trampled over in court. My rights keep trampled over in court. You have this person standing to the left of me who knows me not at all, and yet I would like her to take the stand and talk about how she knows me personally, because you cannot be a beneficiary.
Well, we're not going to be doing any of that,
As the
Mr.
state,
Griffin.
and she is not the state. I know her not. So I don't understand what's going on.
All right, well, it looks like they mailed notice to the address that you had on file at the time.
So
But you're gonna have to take that up with Judge Highland. That case is not before me. Looks like he's issued a body only warrant. You can't get released on that until you have a hearing with Judge Highland in that case. I think given the history, $1,000 cash bail is necessary. I will set that.
I object. It's clear
And
that
that's
these
fine.
have been violated and you're still moving forward. This is called an
I
obstruction of justice.
don't,
Let the
that
record
your
show
rights have
that.
been
Know
violated.
everything that I've said.
It's all being recorded, Mr.
I'm
Griffin.
glad.
You would have the right to a preliminary hearing in 10 days. Do you want that scheduled?
But I don't want to sit in jail any longer.
You're not allowed to post any cash bail to get released in that particular case. I don't have any authority to do anything with that.
So if you don't have authority, that means
You're
you don't
gonna
have
have to,
authority
you're
over
gonna
me.
have to address
I object.
that
If you don't
case
have
with him.
authority to actually set me a bail, you do not have authority over me. Matter of fact, Your Honor, are you responsible for me if something happens to me?
All right, and I'll also order that you not use or possess dangerous weapons as it's defined by the state
You're
statute.
responsible for that.
And because I haven't heard a response, I don't believe we have a waiver of time limits to set a time for
Are you
preliminary
responsible
hearing.
for me if something happens?
And we are adjourned. Mr.
Okay,
Griffin.
since you're not responsible for me if something happens to me, let the record show that you are not. You are crazy. Bad.
The courtroom opens and immediately, tension fills the air. Anthony Griffin, a man identifying himself as a sovereign citizen, refuses to cooperate with the standard procedures of the court. He refuses to say that he is Anthony Griffin Jr., the defendant charged in the case, instead insisting, "I am Anthony of the Griffin family," and even calling himself the executive of the estate of Anthony Griffin. His words are confusing, bold, and completely outside anything the judge expects. It's clear from the start that this hearing is going to test the patience of everyone in the room. Griffin speaks with a sense of authority over himself, as if the court has no right to question him at all. He interrupts the judge repeatedly, challenging the very premise of being recognized as the defendant. Every attempt by the judge to clarify his identity is met with long, convoluted explanations. Griffin denies being the entity known as Anthony Griffin, denies the labels assigned to him, and claims the personal information on file is false. He goes further, talking about being a living man, and questioning the jurisdiction of the court over him. His words are a tangle of legalese, ideology, and personal belief, creating confusion for anyone not familiar with the tactics used by those who identify as sovereign citizens. Despite the chaos, the judge maintains remarkable composure. Every time Griffin interrupts or veers off into abstract arguments, the judge calmly but firmly brings him back. The courtroom is a delicate balance of letting Griffin speak enough to protect his rights while preventing his unconventional arguments from derailing the proceedings. The judge relies on records, booking photos, and prior case history to methodically confirm Griffin's identity, making it clear that no amount of rhetoric can erase the facts on record. Griffin continues, speaking for several minutes at a stretch, asserting that he is not the person named in the court documents, that he is separate from the legal entity, and that conventional legal processes have no power over him. His monologue touches on identity, race, and the nature of law itself, blending elements of sovereign citizen ideology with his own personal interpretations. For anyone watching, it's both frustrating and fascinating, a display of someone using language and belief as a shield against legal authority. The judge responds carefully, addressing each point without losing control. He explains why the court has jurisdiction, why Griffin's identity is verified through multiple records, and why the law cannot be ignored. The prosecutor adds context, reminding the court of Griffin's failure to appear in previous hearings and laying out the consequences. The courtroom becomes a study in tension, authority versus ideology, order versus disruption, reality versus rhetoric. Throughout the hearing, commentary, either internal or narrated, adds perspective on what is unfolding. Arguing with someone who refuses to accept the authority of the court is compared to dealing with a magic 8-ball that only says no. Each point Griffin raises is met with factual counterpoints, but his persistence is relentless. The audience can almost feel the frustration, yet also the dedication of the judge to maintain fairness and adherence to legal procedure. Even as Griffin challenges every premise, the judge allows him the space to speak, ensuring his rights are respected. But at the same time, the judge doesn't allow disruptions to control the flow of the courtroom. It's a careful, deliberate handling of a situation that could easily spiral out of control. The contrast between Griffin's evasions and the judge's professionalism highlights just how unusual and difficult these types of hearings can be. Griffin's arguments grow more elaborate, referencing legal concepts in ways that twist their meanings. He speaks about being a living man, challenges the relevance of his recorded information, and questions the validity of any legal documents that claim authority over him. The courtroom listens, sometimes in disbelief, as the back and forth continues. But the judge never loses control, never becomes flustered, and never allows the proceedings to be derailed. As the hearing progresses, it becomes clear that the confrontation is as much about philosophy and belief as it is about law. Griffin's refusal to identify as the defendant, his insistence on his own version of identity, and his challenges to jurisdiction all reflect a worldview at odds with conventional legal systems. Yet, despite this, the judge navigates the complex terrain with calm authority. Each interruption, each objection, each bizarre claim is met with methodical explanation and an unwavering reliance on facts. By the end of the hearing, viewers are left with a striking example of how courts handle the unexpected. Anthony Griffin's refusal to conform, his unconventional claims, and his attempts to disrupt the legal process are met with the quiet force of procedure, documentation, and judicial control. The balance between allowing a defendant to speak and maintaining courtroom order is showcased in every moment, providing a real-life look at the challenges judges face when confronted with ideology-driven disruptions. It is a tense, fascinating, and sometimes frustrating display, but one that ultimately demonstrates the strength of professionalism in the courtroom. The judge does not need to raise his voice, lose his temper, or engage in arguments of his own, he simply relies on the law, the records, and his authority. Anthony Griffin may speak at length, refuse to identify himself, and challenge the very foundation of the court's power, but the legal system moves forward, showing that even the most persistent disruptions cannot derail the process. This courtroom interaction becomes more than a legal proceeding, it's a lesson in patience, authority, and the limits of ideology when faced with the structured, methodical reality of law. Griffin's actions are baffling to anyone unfamiliar with sovereign citizen tactics, but the judge's handling provides a clear blueprint for how to maintain control, enforce legal authority, and ensure justice is served despite unconventional challenges.